Hey guys, Clumsy here and welcome back to ETS2. We have a bit of a different video today, a bit more technical in nature. You can see that number in the upper left corner, that is my current frame rate, 98 FPS at the moment. But I'll tone that down because that's without VSync, and without VSync, look at the screen tearing that's happening here. Not very smooth movement at all, right? So I don't like it. So what we will do is limit it to 60 frames. Look at the frame rate here, 360. I will enable the VSync so that we are locked at 60 FPS, which is my monitor's refresh rate. And now we get a much smoother view. Okay, let's go with that. So for today, we are still in Grande Utopia. And we are starting in Crevit, and we will make our way towards Saint Benoit, but we will do some detours. So we will pass through Nucleon here, pass by Chavanon. I guess either way would work. Well, yeah, we could go pass through here. This rest area here looks nice. And then we'll be going through the long route, that one, for an interesting experiment. And then we will be going back to Saint Benoit. Okay, looks good. That scenic route right there. I remember that one. Okay. So it should be 15 kilometers, 24 minutes. And this map, as I have shared with you last time, is a 1:1 map. So that will be roughly around how long the episode will be. And I'll share more details on what I'm doing here and why I have this kind of frame rate happening, alright? But actually that will get hidden soon, because I am measuring my frame rate. So I will start that now. See that green thing, and then now it's gone. All right, there we go. Let's start this. Okay. All right. So the frame rate is being measured right now, and it's going to get logged in a file, and then we will analyze that file at the end of the trip, and we will see how our frame rate is behaving. Now, there is something wrong with my force feedback. One sec, huh? Sorry about this. SDK reload. That is useful if you're using the force feedback plugin and something feels amiss with the steering. Okay, now it's feeling better. Good. Alright, so why am I doing this? So as you guys might know, I shared in the previous episodes that I am planning on an upgrade soon. Actually, I'm waiting on the Ryzen 7 3700X to arrive. And before that arrives, I wanted to measure how my frame rate is at the moment. And ideally, I would have wanted to measure it with 60 frames or without the VSync, so that I can maximize all the frames I can get and really get a better picture. But I don't know, without VSync, everything just seems choppier. Even if the numbers are higher, the feeling is less so. So I'm not sure, it feels weird. So I'm just going to keep it on anyway. Realistically speaking, I always play with VSync anyway, so might as well test with the correct, the realistic settings that I'm going to play with. No bikers, looking good. Cross over here. That was a nice farm, nice cozy farm. Any takers? Renault Magnum. Oh, I still haven't removed the sports cars. But yeah, so far so smooth, right? So we'll do this entire trip. I'll try not to pause in between, because that will smudge the frame rate. Actually, I might have ruined the frame rate benchmark already because I opened the console. So what we'll do, we'll stop the benchmark, so the frame rate will come back, and then I'll start it again. There we go. And then we'll see afterwards how the scores are. Now what's important, I've learned, is you know how we complain about the stuttering and things like that, or if it's smooth, if it's not. Apparently it's a matter of frame times, what I've been learning through the videos. Videos by Gamers Nexus and other renowned YouTubers who do FPS reviews and stuff like that. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay. Take a photo here later. Under construction bridge. It's nice. So apparently you can quantify the stuttering to a point. Like you can quantify how smooth something is by looking at the frame rates and analyzing it, in particular the frame times. So normally we measure the average frame rate, right? And the average frame rate is a good start, but it's not a very complete picture. Like if you see an average of, I don't know, 80 frame rate, 80 FPS, but you only see like you don't really see the dips in there. So it can be that it causes a lot. There are a lot of dips in between. Maybe there's like 90 FPS and then suddenly 30 and suddenly 20, but most of the time it's in 90. But still you get those stutters, right? And so a good way of measuring this apparently is, on top of measuring the average frame rate, we also measure the 0.1% low and the 1% low. You've probably seen that in the benchmarks if you've watched any of these kinds of videos. And I've been wondering what they were for and what they meant, and apparently that's what that was. Like it's getting the 1% lowest frame rate that we've gotten. It's getting the 0.1% lowest frame rate we've gotten. I think we have a winner in terms of thumbnail. My goodness, this bridge is beautiful. I think this is exactly the bridge that Alex took a picture of and shared in Discord. I remember the lampposts and the texture on that bridge. It's beautiful, goodness. Yeah, definitely a winner. So yeah, that's what I'm measuring right now, and I'm using a tool called Fraps. Fraps is a very old software that was originally, it was the number one, or at least the most basic, how do you say, software for recording your screen. But apparently it's also a very nice frame rate counter, that it does not only count your current frames, it can actually log all of those frame times to a file. And then there's a separate software called Fraps, with an F instead of a P, which analyzes that file and gives you your frame rates. So a bit of difference between frame rate and frame time. Frame rate is what you saw, 60 FPS, like that. Frame time is like the exposure, the airtime of each frame. Like from one frame to another, how long does it take to transition? This frame, how long did it show on screen before it was switched, before it was replaced by the next frame? And this one, by the next frame, by the next frame. So how long was their airtime? So that's frame time. Whoa, looks like a bug there with the mapping. AI cars disappearing on this junction. So the frame time can get converted into FPS, because if you measure it, like how many frames in a millisecond, or how many each frame shows this many milliseconds, and if you measure how many frames have shown in a second, then that is basically the FPS. So that can easily be converted. So from frame time, which Fraps is measuring, Fraps with an F is then taking all those numbers and then going to come up with a number, an average frame rate, a 1% low frame rate, and a 0.1% low frame rate. And this will give us an idea if the game is smooth, or if it's how smooth it is. So the best result will be an average frame rate that is very close to its 1% and 0.1% low frame rates, because that will mean that you have a constant smooth frame rate all throughout. If there's a huge dip, like I don't know, 60 and then 10, then that means you have a lot of stuttering going on, and that is how you absolutely quantify the stuttering in a game. Apparently that's how you do it. So that's how I'm doing it. I'm going to make a benchmark here on ETS2, and then I'm going to make a benchmark on Explain, where the benchmark will for sure be helpful. Here in ETS2 actually I'm expecting mostly 60, but I'm quite interested in seeing how the dips are, how big the dips are. So I'll share with you the numbers after. Goodness, this is a beautiful place, Chavanon. That castle up ahead is just wowzers. If you didn't see it because of all my babbling, rewind a little, it's worth it. So yeah, I'm really interested to see the numbers. So I will store them, and hopefully if I manage to upgrade properly once my new CPU has arrived, then I'll measure again and see how much of an improvement there is. I'm not expecting a huge improvement in truck sim. Hopefully better 1% and 0.1% low FPS, but I am expecting a huge jump in Explain. So we will see. We will see. Oh, this is very nice. There's even a truck parking here. Nice trailer. I wonder which trailer pack that came from. Right, looking good. So yeah, the frame rate Fraps is still measuring. It's still saving to a file. We'll try to keep it as long as we can before we park. Before we go to the main menu, we will stop the measurements, the benchmarking. Man, Grand Utopia. Can't go wrong with it. By the way, speaking of 1:1 maps, there's a new one that Jay told me about. What is the name? I think it's Alpha Omega or Alpha Omega, something along those lines. It's a new 1:1 map. It's quite interesting. The screenshots look really good. And even my godness, the mod author of Grand Utopia, took it for a spin. He tried it out and shared some screenshots, and he said he liked it. So I'll probably check that out soon as well. We'll see how it looks. And the city names in particular are quite interesting. They are Greek alphabets, like Alpha. I don't know. Don't ask me about the Greek alphabet, but yeah, apparently that's how it is. Stop here. Now, the places we are driving today are very smooth. I think in terms of benchmarking, maybe I should have gone to the heavier populated areas. Maybe Tours or Tour. I don't know how you pronounce that. What does that mean in French anyway? Because I know there's like a bakery. I'm going to butcher the pronunciation, like Tulejo, like Tours Les Jours. That's the name of the bakery in the Philippines. I'm guessing that's French, but I have no idea if there's an actual meaning to it, or the owner just thought of a fancy, some three fancy French words and combined them together. Anyway, no one would know. No one from there, at least. But yeah, I'm loving the countryside here in Grand Utopia. Anywhere you go, you're up for a scenic tour. Loving it. So yeah, I'm not sure how you actually can measure frame rate if you are getting that. Oi, oi, oi. One sec. What is this about? How the heck can we cross here then? That actually might not be open, huh? Okay, that's interesting. So maybe we'll be forced on a detour here. Looks like. I doubt I can go through there, and I would hate to try against those guys. And this guy is a smart one. He actually stopped bumper to bumper to me. Okay. Just maybe nudge along these cones a bit if we can. Yeah, just nudge them along a bit. Oh crap, I just realized, did I just go to the map? That might have ruined the picture, the frame rate picture. Well, we'll see. Maybe it's not that much of a change, we will see with the score. But if the numbers look really weird, then that might be it. That might be the cause. Let's go and turn on our hazards here. Thank goodness no cars around. That's very tricky. We've been Mumbai bust, guys. Alright, here we are. No wonder the GPS didn't want to go there. Alright, so continuing with the perf. How about that one? Hey, how about this one? Alex said there are so many hidden roads here, and looks like this is one of them. Look at that, we're actually traveling on an unmapped area. Oh, but it's just a small one here. Just a shortcut towards the main road that we are driving to. That's cool. How about that one? Where does that go? Yeah, so many hidden roads here. Have to keep your eyes peeled. Can't just rely on the GPS. I guess as we drive more here, we'll start finding and discovering those hidden roads. We'll see. Before any hidden roads though, Spaghetti Junction, Spaghetti Bends incoming. This is part of the Equinox iconic road. We've gone through here around 2 episodes ago, I think, something like that. Need some retarder action in here. Let's get pretty close. Okay, that's looking quite good. I'm not actually sure how long you normally should run the benchmark for, but it seems like normally the people don't really do it that long, like not really like for 20 minutes, mostly like 30 or 60 seconds. So this might be a very long benchmark, but I guess the longer it is, the more accurate the numbers should be, right? Because the more numbers you get to get your hands on, the more accurate the average would be. If there are many dips or something, I think so. Oh, look at that lovely view of that bridge. Yeah, I definitely remember this one. So we should be coming across that castle again, if I remember correctly. But this time, instead of turning right near the end, we will be turning left. Or maybe... no, actually the castle should be behind us, I think. Yeah, the castle should be behind us. There it is. Yeah, very little there. Yeah. 50 here. No one's looking. Let's just go. So the hidden road, or not the hidden road, the other road that we should have come from, has a junction right there. So I wonder what happens if we start from here and then near the end we meet a dead end. That sucks even more. Hopefully there's like a hidden road somewhere. We'll see. But man, this view is amazing, huh? But in particular, I wanted to reach Saint Benoit because I wanted to see how the city, how the frame rate is in the city. Like that kind of stutter that we just had. So that, I guess, will be measured by the benchmark. Because if we have those stutters long enough, then that will be measured as the 0.1% low, most probably. So that will be a very low frame rate at that particular point. The frame time is very long from that stuttering frame to the next frame. So So that will translate to a very low frame rate. The frame time and frame rate are inversely proportional. The bigger the frame time, the lower the frame rate. And vice versa. Yeah, I know. I told you it's going to be a technical episode. But if you guys are gamers, then you probably have encountered these numbers at one point. And maybe you're very familiar with it even. For me, it's just one of the new things. I mean, I've been looking at benchmarks before. Like when looking which graphics card, which CPU to use. I've been looking at benchmarks before. But I to be honest, I never really took a big interest in the 1% and 0.1% low. These have been introduced by Gamers Nexus, and they're a big YouTube channel who do dedicated PC stuff, reviews and benchmarks and all that technical stuff that's super geeky, but I absolutely love it. So I started watching a lot of those videos the past few days to do my research on which CPU to get. And yeah, so I got exposed to those FPS numbers, and I started thinking, can I do something like that on my own? Can I measure that on my own? And then I saw the Fraps and the Fraps software, which I can use for my own measurements. Because usually, when you see the benchmarks, what I hate about these benchmarks is they're usually catered towards the AAA games, right? Like GTA 5 or whatever's new, Red Dead Redemption 2 or Civilization 6. They have these go-to games which I know are very reasonable. They're probably the best measure for benchmarking purposes. But if you are simulation oriented like I am, if you're very much into the channel and most of the things you play is truck sim, flight sim and whatnot, then those benchmarks might not mean so much. What would mean a lot is benchmarking the actual truck sim, the actual flight sim. That would make sense, because each game is coded differently, it uses resources differently, so it's not really a good measure to base it only on a different game. It's still best to do it on the actual game you will be playing, on the actual settings that you'll be playing on. And that's why exactly when I was that's why I have VSync on, even though it limits the frame rates and it will not give an accurate picture on how much frame rate I can actually get with my specs. I mean, this is how I would play it realistically. So what would I do with the 100 plus, 300 plus FPS if in reality I would never use that anyway in a normal drive, right? So I just keep everything realistic and just measure that exact scenario. And those are the numbers that I would be very interested in getting. Okay, let's keep at this. Yeah, I remember this route. New from 1.6. Absolutely loving it. And it's just perfect because with the arrival of the Renault Range T and with Chris Woom's new sounds, right? Everything just is as French as you can get. Love it. I know we have some French guys in the community. Shout out to Silver Wolf, aka Gold Wolf, one of our longtime members in the Clumsy gang. Still don't have a name, we need a name. Clumsy Truckers, I don't know. The Wobbly Group. Very nice. Very nice. And even the transmission of this truck is meant for French roads. It's meant for highways which allow trucks to go up to 90 kilometers per hour, because that is if you look at the transmission, the gear ratio, we reach 12th gear, the highest gear, when we reach around 90 kilometers per hour. When we're at 80, which is the normal speed limit for most of the other European highways, we are still at the 11th gear at a very high rev, so it's not very economical. But yeah, for 90, it's the best setup, this kind of transmission. So it's really a French truck through and through. There's a slow truck right there in front. You guys see him? I thought that function was removed already. Remember that SCS added that function at one point where the AI vehicles were now affected by physics in terms of the elevation. Like if it's uphill like this, then the trucks will be very slow, and then we got a lot of problems because trucks were so slow that drivers, the actual people driving, the actual gamers, were getting irritated that they had to overtake a lot and they had to wait on these slow trucks. But it seems like it's back. When did it come back, or was it ever gone anyway? I thought they removed it. Maybe they removed it only in ATS? I don't know, I can't remember. Okay, we are approaching Saint Benoit. And I'm expecting my frame rate to dip soon. We will see. So after the trip, I will try to show you. Okay, normally after the trip we end the episode, but this time it's going to be a bit different. We are going to check out the frame rate. Okay, I'll try to share the screen with you. I haven't figured out how to do that yet, but we will see. Okay, we will see. Okay, I just have to remember to remove the benchmark, stop the benchmarking right before we deliver this. We turn this in. That's good. Alright. Here on the right. Yes, yes. Yeah, Rennar Logistic. Frame rate is quite good even inside here. Yeah, so no trouble at all. I think in tours is where we get the problem mostly. Now where is the parking? I guess here on the right side? Not really. Do I see it? Might not be here. Might be on that other side of the wall. Oh, there it is. Goodness. Yeah. Okay, the good thing is it's not a blindside reverse, so we have a chance of doing it. But the bad thing is this is not the right angle at all for this approach. Just like landing. Yeah, we'll see. We can probably like turn through here. Something like that. I'm going to hit that trailer. Let's see if I can try and not hit that car. Okay, good. So I'm going to reverse through here. I'm going to align myself and reverse this way. That's the way. And yeah, it should be straightforward. So it's mainly a right angle turn. But we have to keep ourselves straight all throughout. And do a sharp right angle turn near the end there. I'm going to use my mirrors to keep myself straight as much as possible. Not do a lot of zigzagging. This is why I absolutely love head tracking. Track IR is very, very helpful here. I'm actually quite curious about Dolby Eye Tracker. Have you guys tried it? I know Jay tried it at one point, and from last I heard he was really liking it. How does it compare to TrackIR? I heard one negative review for it though. That would be interesting because I saw that Tobii Eye Tracker has also functions outside games. It can help you with windows, like switching windows and stuff like that. Let's climb the curb right here, that's no problem. Yeah, so you can actually like switch windows faster, and there's even like a Twitch extension so that the people watching you can see where you're looking. Okay, that looks good. Let's just align here a bit so that we are sure we don't hit the other side. Yeah, this is the type of parking that I like, just the right amount of challenge. And no blindside, please, because blindside reverses are brutal. There you go, that's perfect. It's perfect right there. That is perfection. Doesn't happen very often. Alright, before I forget, let us remove the stop the benchmark. Alright, I got the file. It's not that big a file. It's 1.7 MB. Okay, let's decouple this, and then we will analyze the thingy. Alright, looking good. Very small income. Good. Alright, so let's quit that. Actually, no, I'll leave that in the background. Can I make it like... No, that's okay. Problem is, the music is gone, so we'll need some music of our own. That's fine, we can do that. Yeah. Fancy. Alright, now, what will I do? So now I can open Fraps, and I'll try to share it with you. 1 second. Alright, that I think works. I'll share my desktop with you guys. That one. So this is Fraps with an F. And what we'll do is we'll drag over the most recent frame time here, the CSV file. And it will load that. There you go. Oh, there you go. Now we get the scores here. Can you see that? Might be a bit small. Let me read it for you. It's 60 FPS average. So we are good. We are almost locked there. The 1% time is 53 FPS, and the 0.1% time is 45 FPS. So we have a dip going down to 45 FPS. But that's actually quite good. So most of the time it's a very nice frame rate. The lowest one we have is 45. Now, let me see. So there were a total of 95,000 frames. If we just isolate that to the last part right here, will we get the same numbers? Yeah, same numbers. Yeah, that's good. So all in all, 26 minutes, 45 FPS. I can take that. Let's have a look at the FPS here. Alright. Yeah, I think what we can do is change this. Max FPS is, let's say, 65. Min, yeah. There you go. Whoa. Yeah, so you see some dips here. Some outliers. So you see the most of the frames are here on the top because that's where the 60 frames is. 65 is here at the top of the screen. But you see some dots there below. Like 16 FPS dips below. And if you are only measuring the minimum FPS, then the only number we'll be getting is that one here. Which will say your minimum FPS is what? I don't know what that is, around, I don't know, 10 FPS, which is very inaccurate. That's an outlier. So what this is getting is it's getting the 0.1%, the lowest 0.1% of all the frames here. and it's averaging that, and that it is saying that the average of those low numbers are 45 FPS, which is around where is it here? Around this point, maybe? Around this point. Yeah, so those are the stutters. So it's not bad. Even with the stutters, we have 45 frames. And that's evident with the smooth gameplay, right? I'm interested to see how this looks with X-Plane. Because X-Plane is going to be a very, very different picture. Okay? So yeah, just wanted to share that with you guys. Alright. Anyway, thank you for staying with me. And I hope you enjoyed that trip. I'll catch you guys in the next episode, and we'll do an X-Plane version of this one before I upgrade. Right? Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Clumsy Trucking, guys. And don't forget, hit the thumbs up, hit the like button, comment, share with your friends and stuff like that. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye. Clumsy Trucking.